Hi guys, it's Rafiki with Dive with Rafiki, and today we're going to be reviewing the Tusa Hyflex fins. So, just some background. I've been using these fins for about 2 years now, and I've used it for over 100 dives. The exact number I'm not sure, I have to check. But I bought this 2 years ago. They're my very first fins that I've used. Ever since I started diving, I actually learned how to dive in these fins, and also they've been great. They've been a very major part of my diving journey, and unfortunately they will be retiring soon because I've decided to upgrade to a different fin just to suit my diving style better. So I bought these fins at Scuba Warehouse in Singapore, Scuba Warehouse Singapore, for about $310. It can be quite expensive for a starter fin, but at that time I was single and I had money to splurge. So just some characteristics of these diving fins. So this is actually made from polyurethane. Majority of the material is made from polyurethane. There are some parts that are rubber, and also it's being powered by what is called polyurethane blade system. That is something that is very unique to Tusa. Also, because of the long fin and its sturdiness, it provides a quick and snappy response for divers. So as you can see, the fin blade itself is actually quite long, so which is quite good for those newer divers, especially using flutter kick. Lesser movement, that means you're burning lesser air. So also there's this thing called the vortex generator. So if you see here, the vortex generator, the idea behind the vortex generator is actually to create lesser water resistance when you are using the fins to kick through the water. And the comfort foot pocket enhances better performance because this is much more integrated. It's actually quite a deep foot pocket, and it's also fully immersive. So can you use these fins without your water booties? I'm pretty sure you can. I've never tried it before, but I would imagine that the corners here would start to annoy you as there's no protection straight from the skin. But definitely these fins are much more comfortable with your booties on, and also for those using the high cut booties, like the Scuba Pro Deltas, like the ones I'm using, there's actually a latch at the back of the booties for you to sit on. And the strap they're using is actually a universal bungee strap. So this universal bungee strap is actually made of rubber, and also the good thing is that there is likely that you'll be able to change this to a different strap if you choose to do so. I will go through some of the pros and cons later on towards the next part of the video. And also they have this thing called the offset blade design. So apparently this offset blade design is to help better when you're kicking, and also to allow a more even transfer of power from your legs to the blade. Yeah. So in this next part of the video, I'm going to be talking about 4 pros and 4 cons that I feel about the fins, that I've grown to know through experience, and hopefully that it will benefit you. So moving on to the pros and cons, we'll start with pros. So one of the biggest factor, or one of the biggest selling point to me at that point when I bought these fins, is that these fins are very lightweight and they are also travel friendly. So being a guy who is young, excited, and wants to travel with all of his diving equipment, that was one of the main considerations that I thought of when I decided to buy these fins. And also the other selling point, or what I would say is pros, is that these fins can actually be broken down into 2 pieces. So if you look here at the side, there's actually an Allen key on both sides where you can remove to break down the fins into 2 parts. So especially for those who are traveling with smaller luggages maybe, or do you want to travel light with only just one backpack, you can break these fins apart into 2, and then you can put them into your carry-on instead of your luggage. Save more money, that means more money to dive. Also, like I mentioned just now, they offer separation for smaller pieces of luggages. So, you know, for those people who don't have a big luggage, like for me, when I travel for diving, I'm using the North Face Rolling Thunder 30-inch, which is a very big luggage, which can fit all of my diving equipment and more. Even can fit my wife's diving equipment and more. So for her, it's a good thing because she can put more junk into her luggage. But for me, it's fine. I love her anyways. So the last pointers or the last pros I would feel about these fins is that they are very reliable and they also provide a lot of power, especially when you're doing your flutter kick. So flutter kick is a very basic and it is one of the first few kicks you actually learn once you start to understand the dynamics of diving, and it will actually really help you to propel yourself underwater. So moving on to the cons, which I know majority of you is looking forward to listening. So after using this for about 100 dives, for over 100 dives, one of the biggest cons that I feel is that these fins are not very suitable for frog kick because of the design. So if you can see, the blade is actually much narrower compared to some of the fins that are more suitable for tech fins, for frog kicking, such as Scuba Pro Jet, Apex, RK3, RK4, and so on. So for frog kicking, because of the narrow blade, it might actually not be as efficient, and you might have to, there might be a reduce in power when you're doing the frog kick. Okay, guys, moving on to the next point for the cons that I feel about the Tusa Hyflex fins is that the entry point can be very expensive for new divers, especially. Diving itself can be a very expensive sport, and equipments are they come in a varying amount of prices. So for these fins alone, they cost $310 at the point of purchase, which was somewhere in 2018, late 2018. So for 310 new divers, they might not be looking into this kind of fins. So that might be a pointer that you, or there might be a consideration that you might sway you away from getting these fins. And next, the last pointer, the last cons I had is that the strap actually offers very limited slots for adjustments. So inside here, there's only 3 points of adjustment, same as the other side. But apart from that, that's the amount. That's the amount you only get. And considering that the straps are made from a rubberized material, over time it will degrade much faster as compared to a spring adjustment system. Though there are still cons for the spring adjustment system, but to each his own. There's a lot of things that can cause this to deteriorate faster: weather conditions, how you store it, and also how often you use it. So for me personally, I've had to change my strap twice over 2 years. There could be varying reasons, multiple reasons why I've changed them. Could either be how I was putting it on, or it was just the number of dives I've used them and how much I've put them through. So moving on, to conclude everything, so how or who do I think these fins will be suitable for? In conclusion, if money is not an issue for you, definitely these fins are very versatile. They can be used in multiple conditions: drift diving, shallow water, or whatever type of diving. But definitely tech diving might not be suitable because these fins are they're a bit too long for tech diving, especially when space is constrained. For example, cave diving, it will not be suitable for you. So next is newer divers might find the fins comfortable as they are very light and they require very little energy to use them under the water due to whatever technology is found in the Tusa fins. So new divers might find them comforting as they are very easy fins to learn on. For me personally, in my experience, they were very easy to use. And as I grew in my diving journey, I've learned how to use frog kick, and I found that they're not very suitable for frog kicks as they're not very efficient. So one downside for new divers using this is new divers might not be aware of their surroundings, and due to the long fins nature, they might cause silt when they're at the bottom, sandy bottom, or they might also accidentally hit on the coral. So generally for me, new divers, I would rather recommend a shorter fin. Maybe they might not offer as much power, but it's much easier for you to be aware of your surrounding because the extension from your leg is not so far apart. So that might actually help with your awareness. So all in all, what I recommend, if money wasn't a factor, the fins are definitely comfortable and very versatile to use. They can also help with your diving experience to make it more enjoyable and also more fun. However, I also feel that more experienced divers can still benefit from these fins. As I said earlier, the fins are longer, they generate more power, especially in flutter kicks. So these fins can actually be useful, especially when you're doing challenging dives conditions where frog kick might not be as efficient as their power output might not be as great as compared to a flutter cake. So that's all, I guess. So thanks again for watching. I hope you guys find the video valuable, and whatever inputs I've shared is solely based on my experience alone. If you have any feedback or if you have any questions, don't be shy, do share them with me, and hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.